So controversy is now mounting in Trinidad and Tobago as it relates to the CPL. Now, a couple of players that are members of the Trinidad and Tobago Knight Riders team that lives in Trinidad, according to reports, are being allowed to travel from home, and not only to travel, but also to take part in training sessions and practice matches, which would go against the rules of this year's CPL that states that all players should be in a biosecure bubble leading up to the competition. Stay tuned, we're going to discuss this some more. So, after being given the nod to host this year's staging of the CPL, Trinidad and Tobago is now being looked at underneath the cricketing microscope. Now, reports coming out of Trinidad and Tobago is that players of that same country are being allowed to train and also to take part in practice matches. Now, it was expected that all players that are going to be taking part in this year's staging of the CPL, once they were available, would be placed in quarantine and also would be allowed to stay in the biosecure bubble. Now, if these reports are true, that players are being allowed to travel from home, then this would cause an issue, seeing that it would not only put those players at risk, but also the other players that are in quarantine that will eventually come in contact with these persons. Now, I can understand that if these Trinidad and Tobago players are all in a hotel by themselves and are going to train and have practice matches, squad match between themselves, then I can't really see the issue with that, seeing that they are being quarantined together. My issue would be if these players are being allowed to travel from home, seeing that some of them are basically close to their house or close to their home, seeing that they are from Trinidad. That would be my issue if they are allowed to travel from home to train, and then in the long run they will be allowed to participate in the competition. Now, former West Indies captain and St. Lucia Zouks captain Darren Sammy has tweeted out showing his disapproval to this whole thing. Now, I am going to read what Sammy actually tweeted. Let me try and pull it up here. Now, Sammy is saying everyone should have been in the bubble from day one. That's the only way you can guarantee everyone's health and safety is not compromised. And then he goes on to say, but hey, I am no COVID expert. Now we can see that Sammy is being very sarcastic in his tweet here, because out of common sense, we all know that players would be expected to be in the biosecure bubble. And the mere fact that they are not in the biosecure bubble, they are now being exposed to the wider society and could possibly contract the virus and then pass it on to the other players. So Sammy, being the wise and cunning person that he is, just try to put it in a provocative way to say, here what now? But hey, I am no COVID expert. But, anybody with any basic knowledge or any understanding of the whole COVID situation would know that, say, boy, once you are not being quarantined and once you are not in the biosecure bubble, then you are at a risk of getting this disease. Now, in a next tweet, Darren Sammy went on to say, how can everyone else be in a bubble? No access to training or practice games, while others on the outside in a COVID-infected area is allowed to train and to play practice games, then allowed to join the bubble without self-isolation. And he says, shake my head. So I personally can understand what Sammy is saying. Now, if you are going to allow these players to participate in training sessions, practice games, and to interact with the wider society that, is within an infected area, if all of that you would allow all of that to happen, and then there would be time for them to isolate and quarantine for the next 14 weeks before the competition. I could understand that, but there isn't enough time for that. And not only that, it also gives an unfair advantage to the players that are allowed to train and to practice and to have practice games, because if these players that are outside of the biosecure bubble is allowed to train on a regular day-to-day basis and also to have practice games, the ones that are within the biosecure bubble, I am assuming, will have less match fitness, and that would give an unfair advantage to the ones outside of the bubble. So boy, I can really understand what Darren Sammy is saying here, you know. And it is not only the unfair advantage that it gives to these players that we need to look at. We need to look at that players are making sacrifice from to leave their families, to leave their countries, to come with into Trinidad, expecting that the cricketing association there and the CPL organizers would have been able to make sure that everything runs smooth, would have been able to make sure that all players follow the rules, because you can't have one set of rules for one players and a next set of rules for a next set of players. That don't make no sense. So, we're hoping that after this was brought to the forefront, everything would have been stopped immediately. Players would have then been told that, here what, the competition will be starting on the 18th. So, boy, I not even know how to put this, but that is the way I'm seeing it. I remember in the test series that recently concluded, that's West Indies going down to England by 2-1. Leading up to the beginning of the series, players had to stay within the bubble. When the West Indian players land in England, what happened is that they were allowed to stay within a particular hotel for a couple of days, and then after being cleared, they were then moved on to a next facility, that is on the grounds where the first match would have been held. So, the first test there with West Indies against England would have been a trial and error thing. So the CPL organizers would have had something to kind of pattern the thing off, so there shouldn't be any form of loophole in the thing. So I am hoping that at the end of the day, everybody, will test negative for this whole thing, and then the competition will be able to go ahead. Because at the end of the day, Trinidad and Tobago was given the nod to host this competition, and not saying it has anything to do with the government, because it is the CPL organizers that would have allowed this type of slackness to go down. But it doesn't look good when people going to talk about this. They are going to say that the CPL competition that is being held in Trinidad and Tobago had such and such a problem. Nobody is going to just say, boy, CPL this, CPL that. They are going to link it with Trinidad. So that is some form of bad publicity just the same. But being a cricket loving fan, I am hoping that things will work out and everybody will test negative, and we will have a wonderful competition. Hopefully all players will be up and running. The level of fitness won't be there, so the intense competition might not be that intense, but at least we will be having some form of cricket. So yeah, man, that is what is happening here. Now guys, as I am speaking here, just remember to like, share, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We are trying to grow the channel, so remember to subscribe, share the video to a friend, recommend the channel to a friend, so we can grow the thing. Yeah, man. All right, so yeah, man, as I was saying, I am hoping that we will have some cricket, hoping that this whole thing won't be an issue, and Darren Sammy is within his right to bring this out, because at the end of the day, they are all professionals. Darren Sammy would have captained at the highest level, because he would have captained an international team, which is the West Indies cricket team. He would have also captained a couple of 2020 teams around the world. So Darren Sammy is smart enough to call bull when he sees bull. You know, he knows that this whole thing is not just about the day playing the game on the day. It has to do with the build up leading to the game. Because a player a team can basically get ahead before they even go on the pitch. You know, so Darren Sammy is just trying to make sure that the playing ground is level. You know, so that is what is really happening here right now. Sports to the bone, keeping you informed. Please remember to like, share, leave us a comment. If you have not yet subscribed, remember to subscribe, share the channel, share the video to somebody. Peace out.